Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where today we're going to take a look at the 4005s with its fresh nerfs. This is one of the games I recorded from earlier today, and I'm just going to let this play out because I don't think I need to say anything about this particular replay. I've sped it up because there's no point waiting or hanging around for this sort of result, but you know, we've all had games like this where we win and not a single member of my team's on the MVP screen. Oh, things never change. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about the new, well, essentially the new 4005. So the main complaints about the 4005 were that its camo was too good, it was too fast, it was too nimble on the spot, and it hit too hard. So what Wargaming have done is they've introduced some nerfs, and the 4005 does now play slightly more sluggishly than it used to. Has it changed the way the vehicle performs? I don't think it has. I mean, I'm not cherry picking great results here. I've essentially just recorded the first 4 or 5 games that I played in it from earlier today with the nerfs, and yeah, you have games like this where you're sort of left, your team leaves you to. They've left me to hang out and dry. I'm on my own. Well, I didn't think I was on my own. I've got a fair bit of green down south compared to me. But, you know, you have games like this. But the nerfs don't really affect the typical game. I don't see it having that much of an impact because, yes, you turn slightly slower on the spot. Yes, your turret turns slower. I don't play the concealment build, so I can't really comment on the concealment per se. But again, if the trend continues, I'm going to say, well, the camo doesn't really affect it. I don't know that for certain. Obviously, like I said, I don't play the concealment build. But the main issue that I think people have had with it really is the number of them on each team, which isn't a problem with the 4005. That's a problem that the matchmaker's got. So that's sort of the discontent from that. We can park that to one side and say, yeah, we understand that's a matchmaking issue. Other people will say, you know, there are so many, the matchmaker has so many of them to work with because it's so popular. Well, yes, it's the most famous tank destroyer in the world, so yes, people are going to play it a lot because it's so famous. I mean, of all the tanking games that you can play at the moment, World of Tanks, World War II mode, Cold War mode, and even War Thunder, we'll throw that one in there as well. The Era 1 FV4005 is the easiest one to get of all of them. So if you want a game where you can just drive the 4005 because you saw it at Tankfest, or you've seen it at the museum, or you've seen it on YouTube, or you saw it at Tiger Day like I just did. Yeah, I mean, Era 1, Cold War, World of Tanks, Modern Armour is the place to go for that. So there is the fame side of it as well. But the other issue people have got with this is that it can hit you for so much. It hits as hard as it does. And what this update has done is not change that at all. Yes, your turret turns slower. Yes, your hull turns slower. But if you're playing it like a TD, which I would say the majority of people have been doing, it doesn't make any difference. The gun still hits just as hard as it always has. I don't know what to say about that. I know based on the earlier video where I went through the actual changes to this vehicle, I've read the comments, there's a lot of comments on that video, and The response is very, very mixed. People are saying it's about time, it was, broken, overpowered, it ruined Era 1, and other people are saying, it was fine, it didn't need a nerf, people just needed to learn to play the game, and, same with artillery, enough people cried and wargaming have changed something. I've got a feeling this nerf isn't going to please the people that wanted it nerfed, because at the end of the day, if you play it right, you can still hit for... The Hesh still hits very hard at the right target, and the armor piercing still does exactly what it always did before, and that is where I think the vehicle's changed, and I said this in my Discord. The vehicle has changed, the statistics have changed, but the results haven't changed.
Same, but different. But still same.
And admittedly, in this game, my team has sort of fallen apart slightly, and maybe I should have pushed down the 9 lines sooner. But, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Don't get the reload for the AMX, but I get the reload for the RU. Hesh hits the tracks, don't get the full hit, which I don't know if the full hit would have killed him. But anyway, you're still pulling in good results with the 4005. I mean, just under 6,000 damage there, best in game, and that's with the nerfs. So, I don't know. I never thought this vehicle needed adjusting. What I can say about the feel of the tank now is that it does feel a lot more like the World War II version. It does feel like it's more of the sit back and snipe. I mean, I always played it as sit back and snipe unless I was absolutely confident that I could play at close range and I had the support to do that. But the play style for me hasn't changed. I mean, to do what you want to do is going to take slightly longer because the rotation of the turret is slower, and so on and so on. The rest of the the vehicles changed, but the results for me are still the same. I still play it the same way. I still get the same results. I'm still doing very, very well in it, and the whole thing sort of feels unnecessary to me. I don't know. I mean, I made my opinion fairly clear on the 4005 not so long ago, about 3 weeks ago now, 2-3 weeks ago, and well, here we are. I wasn't actually aware. I hadn't been keeping up to date with the news, and I wasn't aware the 4005 was being changed, but I did get some information from the devs at Wargaming, and the reasons for nerfing the 4005 were made clear to me, and statistically there were some anomalies with this vehicle, so they've introduced changes to try and address it. But I don't know if this vehicle can be addressed the way that the apparent majority of people want it to be addressed, because at the end of the day, it is a 183mm gun. It's always going to hit very, very hard. It's always going to. It is going. That's what the 4005 is about. And it still has the same Achilles heel that it always has. It's still got the terrible turret armor. It's still very vulnerable to high explosive. The hull traverse, even though it's been nerfed, I still think that if a competent player is playing this vehicle, you'll still be able to outturn most things. I would say maybe light tanks. If you're playing it sensibly and you're up against a boundary or some cover, you'll still be able to defend yourself. But really, that the way this vehicle will be dealt with in the battlefield is no different now to what it was before. I mean, you saw in a previous game, I think it was a PT-76, I was reloading, I couldn't do anything, the PT-76 came up to me and just, with its fast reload, was just peppering me, and that's always been the 4005 gameplay. It's always been that way, and it's no different now. It really is no different to me. And again, like I said, I don't have the concealment build on this. I've never really struggled with the 4005, and maybe I would do better. I probably would do better if I'd had the concealment build, but I quite like the build that I've got on it right now. And it's still one of those vehicles you're going to have to be careful for. You've always, since day one of this vehicle being in the game, it's just one of those vehicles that you have to be careful about. You know, it's always going to have a big gun. It's always going to hit very, very hard, and you're just going to have to keep an eye out for it. You've always had to, and you're going to have to do that now. So if you're someone who's upset with the 4005 for hitting as hard as it does, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it still is like that. Played right, it'll still slap you for 1200, whatever it might be. So yeah, I mean, I feel like the vehicle has changed, but nothing. Things have changed, but nothing's changed. So, you know, I don't really know. I don't really know what to make of it. I mean, I still enjoy playing it. I still love slapping things with it. It's a little bit slower to do what it does now, but it still slaps. Still hits very hard. New players are still going to have to deal with it. They're still going to have to deal with possibly getting one shot. So there you go. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Alright guys, that's all I've got for this video. If you've enjoyed it, please leave it a like. If not, a dislike. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you in the next one.